Hello and welcome back to the Woman, Asian and Bloody Immigrant podcast. Here is part 2 of episode 3, Racism in Hong Kong. Okay, going back to languages for a second. Don't you guys find it absolutely stupid and ridiculous that the Hong Kong Bureau of Education wants us ethnic minorities to continue learning basic level of Chinese even in primary school? Because I remember, did you guys know that? First of all,
yeah, I do know that.
Yeah, I remember when I first started primary school, we used to have like normal the mainstream Chinese books until I think it was primary 2 is when they changed the textbooks to just like normal basic like papa, mama, like simple Chinese, and we continued with that same level of Chinese until primary 6.
Oh, yeah, that happened to us as well.
Exactly, and we both, like all three of us, went to like a mainstream local Chinese school afterwards, and I didn't know that we were learning like the basic to basic Chinese until I got to secondary school, and they were like learning ancient, like William Shakespeare level type of Chinese in secondary school.
Oh, is it the secondary one? Was it like similar to the DSE they're doing?
Yeah, but Bureau of Education in Hong Kong just decided that, and the reason they did that is because, you know, there were immigrant children coming from Pakistan, coming from India, or coming from other countries, and they were like 10, 11, 12 years old, and they couldn't learn Chinese as fast. So they decided to just change the entire syllabus to basic Chinese because they thought we as ethnic minorities, every single one of us, even the ones who were born in Hong Kong and were growing up in Hong Kong, we just could not learn Chinese. So the solution is just dumb down the language so that we could understand. I just like, when you like just dig deeper into that decision, it kind of, in my opinion, kind of shows their bigotry, because they honestly, like all these experts in the education department of Hong Kong, thought that we as ethnic minorities have such low intellect that we can learn a language even if we are born and raised in Hong Kong. So the solution is just dumb down the language and let us learn simple Chinese up until we're 15, 16, and just set us up for failure later on in life.
You know what? Yeah, I kind of agree with you because, like, you know how even in UMA, from Form 1, when we studied there, from primary 1 to primary 6, we learned the same basic mama, papa, and then that's literally all I knew in like Chinese.
Yeah, because that's what they said that we should be learning.
Yeah, which is so dumb. We should have been taught more, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I agree that there were a lot of immigrants coming from, countries over, and they couldn't learn Chinese to the same level. Like a 10-year-old couldn't learn Chinese immediately. So they had to learn the basic one. But don't like mess up our capability to learn Chinese.
Yeah.
Like I often think about this. What would have happened if they just let us learn Chinese at the normal pace?
Yeah.
You know, by the time I graduated primary school, I would have been fluent in it.
True.
And that just makes me really, really angry when I think about it, because this stupid decision is setting us up for failure, because later on in life we need to pass Chinese DSC, we need to pass Chinese for jobs, for university, for just living in Hong Kong. I mean, imagine you're living in an English country, and immigrant people are coming over and they can't learn English as fast. So what they do is they just dump down English, and all you know is, oh, I like my father, I like my mother, I have 4 brothers, I have 4 sisters, like just that level of English for 6 years in primary school, until you get to secondary school and you realize that everyone is reading William Shakespeare plays and they understand William Shakespeare's play level of English.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely get what you say, because you know why? What happened recently? Like, obviously, like even in my high school, like we were divided into groups. Even though I actually like that, because my primary school when I was in primary school, our Chinese, at least the one that we were taught was, very, 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 very basic. So when I went into secondary school, like unlike your case where it must have been so much harder for you, in my case, they knew that we were going to be a lot of ethnic minorities, and how ethnic minorities, they have different situations and different levels of Chinese. So our school divided us into 3 groups according to our level, like how good we were. So I feel like, thank God, because like that really helped me, to be completely honest. Like I was in the lowest level, but then I sing.
Yeah.
But that was really good. Like, honestly, I feel like that was really good. That like my teacher that taught me basic Chinese. So I feel like I'm really thankful for my high school for having that system, like to divide us into 3 groups. Because I feel like if they straight up just put me in like a very really like mushkil wala set, I would have been like lost. Like I would have heard nothing. Somebody, I'm gonna murder you.
No, I'm not. I'm so sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I just remembered like this because you're right. It was a bit harder for us in LKL because they never had they didn't know how to.
They didn't cater to you guys, like the language.
They didn't cater to us because they didn't know. So I think for the first 2 years we were just like sat in the same class with the rest of the Chinese kids, just trying to look like we weren't even keeping up. We weren't even in the race, I guess, in the first place, because we just had no idea. But I just remember this one time in Form 1, the Chinese teacher looked at us and said "Tapi Tongha," special students, and just every time she referred to us, she was like "Tapi Tongha," special students, and it just got so ridiculous. I have to say, these things make me laugh, but deep down they're just very embarrassing, to be honest. Like, imagine just sitting in the class, everyone's like fully getting on with the syllabus, and you're just like even looking down at the page, like, what is this? Like, I could have been holding the book upside down and it would still be confusing. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
But
So
I really but honestly, even though like in high school, like they did, because if you don't do DSEs, you can do GCSEs, right?
Yeah, that one started for us in Form 3. So in Form 3, that's when we had a separate class.
Yeah, but our school, because you were only a few students. How many students were you guys?
In my year, 6 of us.
We're like 20 something.
And so that's like
Chinese,
a whole class.
Yeah, and per se, for our Chinese class, they didn't like differentiate Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. They just mixed everyone together, because we were only Form 1, Form 2, Form 3 at that moment. Like, we were Form 1, Form 2, and then after that we were Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. So they just mixed we all had Chinese class at the same time. So in my class, there were kids that were my seniors, and there were kids that were my juniors. Like all the ethnic minority classes would be put into 3 groups of, easy, medium, hard, or like the 3 levels basically. So I think that was really good because I feel like because of that, I really learned a lot. But at the same time, unfortunately, it wasn't enough. But to be ek taraf se, there was my school actually had some extra Chinese classes as well, and they were good. They would have been good if I paid attention. That's my fault. That's on me. But I didn't even really, because they said that we could do GCSEs or whatever. So I didn't really care, and that's really bad to say, to be honest. But it made me like, honestly, when I went to uni, I thought that Chinese doesn't matter anymore because uni meant everything is in English. So I kind of forgot the importance of Chinese. Like, I won't lie, because your lectures, your examination, emails, everything is in English. But then when I had to look for my bachelor's, right? Because I did associates. So when I was looking for my bachelor's, there was this university I wanted to apply to, which was a private university. And I did the interview. Everything was in English. Everything was completely fine. And in the interview, they asked me, like, do you speak Chinese? I was like, I speak really not a lot, but enough to like go through the day. Yeah, like to have a conversation or whatever. And they were like, yeah, our school is really like accepting towards different minorities and stuff like that. I was like, that's cool, whatever. And then after the interview, I was waiting for the results. And then one of the people who were in charge of the, people, basically whoever was in charge, he came to me and he was like, you have to take a test. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, you need to take a Chinese language test.
Dheere se bolo. You're very loud.
I'm sorry. I'm like... So I was he was like, you need to take a language test. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what test? I was not prepared for this. He was like, you need to take a Chinese language test. I was like, oh, shit. Because I have not, like, written Chinese or seen Chinese words. Like, I've seen Chinese words, but not in the way that I have to.
Yeah. You have to remember and,
like, I haven't written a Chinese word in so long. Like, literally in 3 or 4 years, I had not done anything like Chinese related. And then suddenly he's asking me to do a test. And I was just like, oh my God. And I was like, there's no use. I already gave my GCSEs. Like, why are you asking me to do this? He's like, because in our uni, apparently, you need to take Chinese classes. So I was like, fine, let's just see the test. I'm an ethnic minority, so maybe like they would know or whatever. So yeah. I go in and I look at the paper. I'm like, like, I don't even need to like start doing it. The minute I look at it, I'm like, I'm so screwed. Like, I literally at that moment, I had that feeling that I never had in like forever. I had like, because before I always had to, my junior year, I always felt like, oh my God, Chinese, I need to keep up. Whenever I looked at Chinese words, I was like, shit, I need to work hard. Normally when I got the Chinese papers or whatever, it was fine. I understood some, but in that exam room or whatever, when I was looking at that paper, I didn't understand anything. Like, even like I looked at words and I was like, I know this, like I've studied this, I know this word, but I just couldn't remember. And I literally I had that feeling that, oh my God, again, it's back. Oh my God, Chinese is back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that like, feeling with Chinese, I totally get that. I don't know how to explain it, but
in high school, my whole life, I was like, they were like telling us how Chinese, you need to know Chinese. Like, you're not gonna survive. Chinese ke bina kuch nahi hoga, blah blah blah. And then suddenly I have university mein sab kuch English. So I forgot. And then in this interview, I was reminded of that fear again, and I literally wanted to cry.
That fear that Chinese is just gonna ruin your life. Like, Chinese was my worst subject next to maths. Chinese and maths, like, they literally were detrimental to my mental health, because that's how they make it, like that's how they make it sound. But can I just say that to me it feels like, I think the uni shouldn't be allowed to do that, because the reason I'm just saying, the reason they introduced GCSE Chinese and GCE Chinese is to let us ethnic minorities have a better chance to enter uni, so that we don't have to take Chinese DSE Chinese, because that's way too hard. So they let us, the government let us take GCSE and GCE. They changed the rules for us to get into uni. So for the uni to come out and give their own Chinese test paper for you, I don't think they should be allowed to do that. That's just another barrier, another way to like keep you out from the uni that you want to go to. I think you were wronged in this situation. That's just from the information that I have right now, that they shouldn't be allowed. If you have your GCSE, that's just like your ticket to get into any uni you want, in my opinion. Yeah, not even my opinion. That's just the rules that's just the rules. I think you've been wronged seriously. Like, this is like me taking A levels English and then going to uni, and they're telling me, oh, you still have to take this another English test for our uni.
I really don't know what to think about the situation, because when I looked at that paper, it wasn't like it would have been impossible to do. Like, if I was still in my Chinese class in high school, like, you know, if my teacher was there with me continuing to teach me, I feel like maybe I would have been able to do something, like, you know, I could have been able to write at least like a sentence or just something, you know. But because I didn't study Chinese for so long, I couldn't write.
Yeah, if you give me a Chinese paper to do right now, I would get 0 marks, because it's been 3 years for me. I can't speak. I cannot have a conversation now. I can't read Chinese that much, only like simple words. I can listen. My listening is good. But if you tell me to have like a full-on GCSE's exam paper, I'm going to get 0 marks, or maybe 1 or 2 for sure. Because I think academically and like socially, our lives in Hong Kong are so segregated, so separated, that, you know, learning Chinese as a second language, a third language, like fluently, is very, very hard. And some part of it is on us. We have to take the blame. But I think just the way that Hong Kong's society is structured, and especially the academic path for us ethnic minorities, it just makes it way like more harder for us to learn Chinese and, you know, be fluent in it. Because if you think about it, the kindergartens that we go to are filled with ethnic minority children, and then the primary school that we are given by the government are filled with ethnic minorities, and then the secondary schools that we are also given by the government are filled with ethnic minorities students. There are schools, kindergarten, primary and secondary schools, that their reputation is that this is an ethnic minority school only. Do you get me? It's exactly the segregation era in United States, when there were only like black only students and white only students schools, and that's the same exact picture in Hong Kong right now. And then when we go to mainstream schools like we did, you guys went to Kachi, I went to LKL, those schools are like, they just have a completely different syllabus to the ones that we have. Completely different syllabus. Like if you compare Dahlia with my school, LKL, they have a different syllabus. So obviously, and they have better resources. LKL has better resources than Dahlia, the one that's meant for ethnic minorities.
Also another thing I wanted to talk about.
See? Yeah.
Even the schools we get the opportunities, whatever we get, those schools, let's not lie, band 3.
All of them are band 3. All of them are band because of the budget, the resources, the syllabus, the teachers, the type of teachers they hire, because they don't have the money to hire like better professional teachers. This is what pisses me off so much, is every single thing in the structure, in the academic structure, is setting us up for failure. And I really find it hard. I find it hard to take the blame, because is it in our hands? Yes, we could have worked harder. Yeah,
But
we
not
could have
everyone
worked
is
harder.
privileged. Because to be honest, I feel like a lot of our kids at that age, during the time that they should have worked harder or whatever, they're just they don't have expectations. They don't have hopes. Because I have met a few kids at this moment that are supposed to do DSEs or are preparing for DSEs or like Form 3, Form 2. I speak to them, and whenever I ask them what are your plans, they don't have an answer. Like I feel like it's because their environment and just their situation, they're just like, oh, graduate hoke kya karna hai? University ja ke kya
Yeah,
karna hai?
but I'll tell you personally, this is just my personal experience. Up until the day I left Hong Kong and moved to Ireland, the idea that I could even go to uni was not even like possible in my mind. Like that, I just could not picture myself going to uni. I just knew for a fact that I would graduate secondary school and do maybe a foundation degree, associate degree, and maybe go to uni. But it just never felt like a sure path.
Same.
But the minute I left Hong Kong, it just seemed like a possibility to me. Like, yeah, that's where I'm going. Every time in secondary school, when they used to invite alumni, previous students, and they used to talk about uni and applications and all that, like it just never connected with me. Never got
like
into the
you
brain.
would go,
Because I was like,
be me.
It's like dreaming that you like you'll be famous someday. Like, have you ever I'll be famous someday, but it's never gonna happen.
Still dream, girl. That's one of my dreams.
Yeah, keep dreaming.
Yeah, but I totally get what you mean. Like, even now, alhamdulillah, I'm in City University.
Yeah.
It's still like I can't believe it that I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Like, oh my God, shit. Wow, what the fuck? I mean, what the hell? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could never imagine myself in CTU, like, to be honest.
Yeah. I totally get that.
Like, even the first week I got accepted and everything. Like, even when I was in my classes, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Oh shit, I'm in bachelor's. It was so dumb. Like, even like literally a month after I was already in, I was going through classes. One day I was just walking with my friend who got into bachelor's as well. I was like, I still can't believe I'm in bachelor's.
See, like Chinese kids don't have this feeling. They don't know. Like going to uni is just it's just the next obvious step. Mm-hmm. But it's a biggest. You don't agree with that? Come on.
No. Because there are, I don't know, because I feel like it's also about money. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
I also feel like money is a big deal as well. Like, for example, my sister, she goes to she doesn't go to like a government school. She goes to YMCA. It's like a mix. She doesn't go to a local school. So she goes to YMCA, right? And I can tell you, like my sister transferred from a local school to YMCA. And I see her work. I see her workload. I see the type of classes she has, her syllabus. It's really different from a local school. Like at least my school at least. Like they have more... Their teachers prepare them for DSE. They have more load. They have just a lot of things that are prepared for them that they have to do in order to get in. Like, I feel like they have better chances to get into even a SO or even bachelor's because they have so much resources.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
No, but it's not even a Chinese school. Do you know what I mean? It's not a local school.
No, I meant, when I said like Chinese kids don't have this feeling, I meant like this feeling that, oh my God, I can't believe I'm in uni. Do you get what I mean? Because like when you're in primary school, you know that the next step is secondary school. Like,
right.
No
okay,
question.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, see, like no question. Next step is secondary school. But at the end of the secondary school, yeah, but like your point is true. Like it's true to the previous point when we were talking about how, in quotations, ethnic minorities secondary schools have less resources, reiterating your point, Komal, your point when you were talking about your sister's school, how like they have much more like higher standard of work ethic and resources and workload just to prepare them towards uni, whereas in quotation ethnic minorities schools, Dahlia, Caritas, all the whatever other schools, there's not that kind of environment where everything, all our syllabus and resources and teach classes, lesson plans, everything is directed towards getting us to uni. It's not like that. It's just like teaching us, getting us to do tests, exams, and just graduate. It's never like, yes, you guys can go to uni, this is what you have to do. So obviously, if you're not translating that message to ethnic minority students, they don't have any plans because you're not showing them the path.
Oh, and I kind of get offended when people keep recommending like ethnic minorities to specific occupations. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, our school.
Yeah. Oh my God.
For the boys, construction. For the girls,
so
teacher, English teacher, and it's like so annoying.
It's
like I know
honestly
they're
just
trying to help, but it's like
they're not helping. It's not help, man. Just stop giving them the
because the thing is, unke nazar mein, it's like, oh my God, we're trying to help them, but then at the same time, it's like,
no, you don't need your help. You've helped us enough, man. You've helped us enough. Like I just remembered. Oh my God, when what's his name? The previous chief executive. Now I don't know his name.
I swear I know his name. I literally दिमाग से निकल गया. I know his name. जंग उसके बाद कोई आया था जो वो यार जिसकी मतलब
the one we hated, the one we wanted.
Lan Changying.
Yes, that guy. Someone at a conference, like a summit for ethnic minorities in Hong Kong. Someone asked him like, "What should we do to help ethnic minorities integrate more into like mainstream society in Hong Kong?" You know what he suggested?
What?
He said, we should build more schools specifically for ethnic minorities. I don't understand his logic, man. I can't even explain or paraphrase. Okay, let me ask this question. Let me see if you guys have an answer. What are your solutions to help ethnic minorities in Hong Kong, especially students? Or just generally?
Put them in local schools.
Don't put them in local schools?
Put them in local schools.
Oh, put them in local schools. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like she's sounding like Lan Changying.
For me, I feel like...
And also, I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, go on, shall we bol de. Wait, I have. And don't do that mama papa thing. Don't teach them mama papa like throughout their primary school years. Their basic, don't just teach them basic Chinese and like throughout their primary school years.
Because, there are so many different kind of ethnic minorities that come from different situations. I feel like first of all, I feel like it can't only be the effort from the government. I feel like the government should promote more, like, encourage not only students, but also like parents, who have kids to send their kids to local schools, like make sure, because, you have to give the confidence, you have to build confidence towards the ethnic minorities that, okay, if your kid goes to a local kindergarten, we are going to take care of him. If he gets bullied, we're going to take care of it. Because I feel like a lot of ethnic minority parents, they don't mind sending their kids to local schools. The problem is that they're afraid that they will not have the support. Obviously, when you send someone who is obviously a minority to a place where they'll be alone, where there won't be someone, to be their partner or whatever, they are going to struggle at first. That's like 100%. So I feel like from the home and also from the government, the government has to provide some sort of confidence to the guarantee confidence or whatever to the parents, so the parents will feel encouraged to send their kids to local kindergartens. I'm just talking about children right here, like people who are born in Hong Kong, because there are so many people who come like in secondary school, in like primary school. वो तो हम बाद में देखेंगे. Like we're talking from local kids, like the encouragement to enroll into kindergartens that are locals, and because every child, ऊपर से there's a complex of how we are brought up in different households, raised with different parenting styles. So it would be also good if the government would provide, like not provide, but like there would be some sort of support group. Like if your kid is struggling or whatever, we have this one teacher who will help him. It doesn't have to be a ethnic teacher. It can be a local teacher who is more aware of who's more indulged in ethnic minority problems, or not problems, but struggles, or who would understand how to take care of a kid who feels left out, not even ethnically, a kid who is struggling or whatever. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. And okay, then I feel like the kid will struggle, but inshallah, the kids will go through kindergarten, and obviously still enforce the Chinese. I feel like you cannot loosen the Chinese, especially if you're born in Hong Kong. If you have already indulged them into a local curriculum, that would be the best for the child growing up to learn Chinese.
That's very very good suggestion, because like people look at primary, secondary schools kids, but like again, in my personal experience, both my younger sisters started in local kindergarten schools, and then just continued on to local primary and secondary, and their Chinese is just fluent, like fully fluent.
Yeah, I know friends who went
so
primary
that's
and
why we should start with kindergarten and primary. Just send them to local kindergarten schools. Yeah, and you can learn any language up until the age of 12.
And Uper say English is much easier to grasp, because I feel like, so many shows.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. And Uper say it's not like local schools don't teach English. They still teach English, right? So I just feel like the emphasis should be on Chinese, because at the end of the day, because I feel like,
but also because when they're around, when they're around local Chinese kids at the age of 3, 4, 5, 6, you just pick up Chinese naturally.
Yeah, and also like obviously we have our own way of socializing, right? They will also understand how Chinese people socialize, or at least locals socialize.
Yeah.
And also, now that we've talked about kids, G.
I think also we'll be encouraged to learn and to make friends. Just, they'd be in a position where, they have to make friends and stuff like that. And they'll be more encouraged to learn and want to speak to them. So, they're more likely to speak and learn Chinese.
Yeah. And other than that, I also feel like diversity should be taught in kindergartens as well. Like, I don't know how, I'm not a genius in that, because I've never really thought of how, but I believe kids pick up things really easily. So I think diversity should be introduced and encouraged in kindergarten.
Yeah.
So that kids will be, because kids can be really mean sometimes. Because kids learn stuff very easily, right? So I feel like if we introduce diversity and different ethnicities, different culture at a really young age, they will be less. I can't even say discriminatory, but they'll be more.
No, but it makes a big sense, because look at us, I never looked at my Indian friends differently, or Pali friends. You just, because you grow up with them, you just see them as normal people.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no division.
Because I know not everyone, not every kindergarten will be able to have ethnic minorities, because maybe in the area that the kindergarten is, there's not a lot of minorities. But I still feel like whether you have a minority in your school or not, you should encourage diversity.
Yeah, but what you're saying, encourage more kids to, instead of going to Sun Island or just ethnic minority kindergartens, again in quotations, just send them to local mainstream kindergarten. I feel like the problem will just solve itself a bit more naturally and organically.
Yeah.
of the problem
Yeah.
of integration.
Yeah. But I also feel like there should be like a lesson for culture diversity, like not obviously not Islamic cultural diversity, like
Yeah, because Hong Kong
but
is a
just
very
introducing different, just introducing different cultures, like, oh my god, like, this country is blah blah blah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I feel like, like, I guess in university, I feel like everyone's so open. I really like that.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Like-
When you're older and when you're out of that primary and secondary constraints, you're just, you see, you're open a lot more.
And diversity is actually a big topic in university.
I was gonna say that, how in like uni, I've noticed everyone actually like doesn't, I haven't faced like discrimination in university. Everyone wants to work with you. Everyone's nice. Everyone wants to be friends with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I really like that. I hope
I wonder why that is.
Yeah, but I feel like they'll be better parents. Our generation will be better at teaching our kids about, like other races and other cultures and stuff like that. Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah. Anything else to add?
No, but my laptop is 4%.
Okay. Then we have to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, wait, one more. I haven't finished.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, fine. I won't say anything.
No, please.
Voila.
Yeah, I was saying, because we only spoke about kids that were born here, because I know that we can't ignore the fact that there are kids who got introduced to Chinese late. So just like how our school did, they divided into 3 groups, because obviously you can't teach kids that don't understand Chinese like really hard Chinese. So I feel like dividing them into 3 groups would be really good
basically keep the basic language program just for them, not for all of us.
Yeah, not like a across the board thing.
Yeah. Finally, we did this episode. It was a very good episode. You had so much. I feel like this is a never-ending topic. Like we can just go on and on and on.
Also,
I think you can like make part 2, part 3 with other people.
Exactly. Like this.
Discrimination.
Yeah, I could just go on and on, like ask people about them, and I would have like different answers to all of it. Okay, I love you guys so much. Can we like let Honey out of her misery of her 4% laptop?
Yeah, it's 3% now. Let me snap to you guys.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your experience and just thank you so much.
I feel like I spoke too much.
Okay.
As always.
अब मैं क्या करूँ? क्या बोलने के लिए होता है ना?
Bye.
Have fun. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And if you have any other ideas on what we can talk about on this podcast, please reach out to us and share them with us. Thank you so much for listening, and tune in for the next episode.